Hello and welcome back to the Cars Ireland YouTube channel. Today we have a big one, two very big ones in fact, two of the most popular 7-seat SUVs on the market today and a firm favourite for families. In the bronze corner we have...
Yes, so a very real life family car test if you like, and I have with me the all new Skoda Kodiaq. Now, the Kodiaq has been a massive success for Skoda since it first arrived here in 2017, even outselling the Octavia at one stage, which is crazy because we love our Octavias here. But it's not hard to see why. I mean, you've got a 7-seat SUV, stylish design, Skoda reliability. They were always going to be on to a winner. Now, this new model has refreshed that design somewhat, but it's still got that very Kodiaq look. You've got a new crystalline front grille. They've rounded off the edges somewhat and given it a very interesting colour palette. This is called Bronx Gold. It is the launch colour and it is sure to divide opinion. But what I will say is that it looks a lot better in the metal than it does online. So it's kind of one of those colours that you have to see up close to really appreciate. This is the top of the line 2-litre, 190 brake horsepower, 4x4 diesel model. And you have?
I have something that is probably a lot more familiar to people, as the Peugeot 5008 has been knocking around for quite a few years, but it's still a very stylish 7-seat SUV that has proven very popular amongst families. And for good reason. Look at it, it's gorgeous.
It is a good looking car.
It is a good looking car.
And it is important to note that, yes, this is the incoming model, that is the outgoing model, but
yes.
I do still think it's going to be a very interesting comparison, especially because the demand for these two on the used market is so strong. So if you're wondering whether to hold off for the new model or bag yourself a bargain on the outgoing model of either of these two cars, then stay tuned while we put both of them to the ultimate family tests.
Yes, we are both in that same space of having two kids under 4, so we are well equipped to deal with all of the hassle that they bring with themselves.
Now, not the same children, just to clarify. We're very close in a family here in Cars Ireland, but not that close.
No.
But both very much in that knee-deep in car seats and buggies and scooter phase. So I think it's probably wise to start with the back seat because that's where all these decisions are pretty much made,
yes.
isn't it?
And that's where these cars excel.
This is where these cars excel. Let's have a look. Welcome to row 2 of the Skoda Kodiaq.
Thanks for having me. I'm very happy back here. At 6 foot, I have no complaints. I have my twisty dials for my air conditioning. I have my USB-C, my 12 volt, lots of space, lots of light. Can't really complain.
Legroom.
What about you?
Is really impressive back here, I have to say. And that is with me, a fully grown adult, sitting behind you in row 3. One thing I really like about the back seat of the Kodiaq is that you can actually slide this rear bench forward and back.
Would you like more space?
Please.
Make you happier?
That's
look at
much
that.
better. And it does it in a 2-part split, so you really can divide up the space as needs, depending on who you've got sitting back here, who you've got in the front. So that's a really handy feature that I like. Would you like to slide back and I'll talk car seats?
I won't crush your legs, will I?
No, all good.
Car seats.
Loads of room. Okay, so the important thing to point out back here is that even though you've got 2 sets of Isofix anchors, the Kodiaq is more or less the same as any other family car in row 2. Even though the width is quite impressive, it's going to be a bit of a struggle to get a 3-in-a-row car seat situation back here because there are only 2 sets of Isofix anchors. Certain combinations of certain seats will work. You have a much better chance with extended rear-facing car seats because they're much narrower, and no combination of 3 is going to involve Isofix. They will have to be belted in. So it's just to point that out because it is a standout feature of the 5008, which does do that. So it's important to put the finger on that. We'll go and check that out now in a minute. But since I am in the back,
how is it?
It is, as I said, like quite impressive for an adult. This new Skoda Kodiaq is 61 millimeters longer than the last one. I definitely think you feel it a bit back here. I think maybe more so in the boot, which we're moving on to next. But to be honest, would I like to go from Dublin to Kerry back here? Probably not, but I would absolutely take a lift to the pub. No problem.
Just not the dignified exit that you'd like.
No, let's not do that.
Welcome to the back of the Peugeot 5008. How are you back there?
Happy to be here. Decent amount of room. It's reasonably comfortable. Don't feel like I have quite as much leg room as I had in the Kodiaq.
Yes, but party piece of the Peugeot was 3 Isofix seats across the back, and it is sad how excited we got about the fact that it could do that.
It is
so good.
It is so rare though. There's
Yeah.
so few cars that will actually house 3 car seats in a row.
Comfortably.
You would almost think that car manufacturers don't like big families.
Well, speaking of that, Peugeot aren't going to do this in the next model, 5008. It's only going to be like the Kodiaq, 2 on the outside and a small one, not an individual seat that you can all move separately. It's really good back.
This is an awesome setup, and
Yeah.
I'm really sad to hear that, and I don't understand it. I mean, you've got
No.
such a captive market there. People who need this need this.
Yes, exactly. Apparently, Peugeot said their customers are happy to compromise, but it's a big loss.
And another reason to nab this model while you still can. I love the fact that you can individually slide the sorry, I'm going to
Go
cross
for
your
it,
legs
go
back
for
there.
it.
You can individually slide the 3 seats as well. I love this.
Yeah,
you love
great
to see
blinds.
this. The inbuilt sunblinds. Now, in fairness, you can get that as an option in the Kodiaq as well, and it's just so much better, isn't it, than those?
Yeah, it is on the higher spec on this, but they are better than anything
They
else.
are. It's
Yeah,
definitely
they're
better
really
than those mesh coverings that make it look like your
Yeah.
windows have been done.
good.
This is
Bin liner.
stylish, stylish. Yeah, I've got climate control back here. I've got 2 USB-C ports,
Yes, old school,
old school, and yeah, a little lap tray.
which you don't have in your Kodiaq.
I don't have a lap tray, but you know, I rear face my children, so it would not apply to me.
Holier than thou. I'm okay back here. They're quite narrow seats. Again, trip to the pub, fine. Trip to Kerry, not so fine.
As is generally the case with the seats back here. One thing I forgot to mention actually is the Kodiaq doesn't have Isofix back there.
Neither does this.
Okay.
So we're not losing out there too much. I think the Sorrento has that if you're interested in the, 5 Isofix points, but
You have completely lost your mind.
I have. All in all, it's a bit darker than your one, and there is the option of a panoramic sunroof, but that eats into headroom.
You don't want that.
So yeah, slightly darker, but still very competent. I am sweating bullets. Oh my
Okay,
God.
let's move on to the boot.
Quick. Peugeot 5008 boot. We do not have an automatic one. This is the old school, which I actually prefer, to be honest.
Okay.
Now, as we know, there's always qualifiers with a 7-seater. So all the seats up, 167 litres. Back seats down, 950 litres. All the seats down, over 2,000 litres. Lots of space, nice wide opening, easy access, kind of a van.
As you said, this has always been the trade-off for the 7-seat SUV, is that with those back seats up, your boot
Yeah.
space pretty much disappears. That's small, come on, that's a few messages.
That's a Honda E. That is nothing. Yeah. Squished messages.
Let's have a look with it down. It's the red tag. It's the red tag.
The red isn't together.
Okay, right, this comes up, right. And you've got these little flaps to make it nice and neat. I like that. Okay, well that's
easy.
better. That's much better. You've got a little bit of a drop there.
Yeah, a little gap for the seats, but once you fold them flat, it's fine.
It's pretty usable.
It's a good
Again,
boot.
it's kind of depending on whether those seats are occasional use.
Yes, ideally occasional use, and you have a great boot.
I reckon so.
Can I see yours?
Yes, you can. So this is the boot of the new Skoda Kodiaq, 340 litres.
Ah.
Now, generally, that wouldn't sound too impressive, but in this particular class,
No,
and
it's
as we've just seen, it really is. So 340, you're kind of coming up towards Golf and Focus territory there,
Getting there.
small hatchback,
Yeah.
and that's with the back row up.
That's impressive.
It is, and it's almost big enough, I think, to fit a travel system. Shall we try?
Why not?
Oh,
Nearly.
so close, but that's closer than any other 7-seater is going to get, I
Yeah.
think, with that back row up.
That's a great shout.
Okay, so not quite, but definitely
Close.
a more compact stroller, not a problem. Scooters, a big shop.
A big shop, bigger than my shop.
A big shop, definitely. And when you are not using the back row, hello, 910 litres of boot space.
Versus 950. So I lose this one, but I win the other one.
Okay,
Taking it.
still very big, still more than you'll probably ever need to carry. Some nice features back here as well. You've got this rubber boot liner, very handy, especially if you are carrying buggies, because the wheels, all sorts, you know yourself. Another nice feature I like to see, got a spare wheel.
That's surprising.
And even better again, if you look in here, you've got a space to store your parcel shelf, which is so handy because
Where's yours now?
it's behind the bin
Yeah.
in
So
my
you can just pop
garden.
it there.
So finally, you've got a space to store this, so you'll actually know where it is. So I really like that. And then you've also got quick release levers from back here, which will
Do
you
the
can
back.
drop the
back.
row 2. There's a car seat there in the way, but you get the idea. You get the idea. Then you've got a full-on van. So I've got to say, this is one of the most impressive boots I've seen in a long time.
It certainly is.
Electric closing. So, front of the bus, this used to be where my interest peaked. This used to be, you know, where all the fun features and toys for the driver were. Now I open the back seat first.
Yeah, your priority is elsewhere. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this, I want to address the brown in the room with a bronze exterior. This is a brave choice.
I know, it's hard to look past the brown leather. It's look, each to their own. Not my cup of tea either. It's a little bit Anglo-Irish bank for me. It's a little bit S-class, you know.
Yes, it is.
Not necessarily Kodiaq. But you'll be happy to know it's an option. It's a free option on the Selection Plus, but you can also choose black.
Okay.
So I know what I'd be going for.
Yeah, they're very comfy otherwise, though.
It's different. It's
Yeah,
different.
it's different.
Yes. Moving on. Trying to look past that. The actual new layout is really nice.
It is lovely.
It's got all that kind of family-friendly Skoda features, extra storage, double glove box. Love that.
Pop, loads of storage.
It's still got all
For
those
baby wipes.
Yes, baby wipes mainly. It's still got all those little Simply Clever Skoda features. The little clip on the windscreen here for holding your car park ticket. There's another one in here. Ample cup holders. There's 4 here, and they're adjustable to fit any size of cup, even a Stanley.
Even a monster cup like that.
Technology abounds. You've got, as with all new and modern cars, more and more screen. This is bigger, 13-inch now, I believe. 10-inch digital instrument cluster. Double wireless phone charging pads. You can both charge at the same time. 2 more mini USB ports. 2 more in the back. You can actually charge 6 gadgets at a time in here, so nobody should be complaining about lack of charging capabilities. You've got this new Skoda 2-spoke steering wheel. You like that?
Yeah, it's fine. It's nice. Does the job, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're bringing that out across the range now, I believe. I don't know what the 3rd spoke done, but he's gone now. And one of my personal highlights, you know the way as motoring journalists, the one thing that we love to give out about is when there's too many controls and you're fiddling around with a screen and what's wrong with physical buttons. Well, look what they've done here.
What have they done?
They've combined screen and buttons.
Scruttons.
And
you love these?
I love this. I think this is so, once you get the hang of it, of course, but basically what you can do is change the function from all the stuff that you need to access, stuff that needs to fall easily to hand when you're driving, your airflow, your temperature controls, and you can switch between different functions. This one even turns into a volume knob, which I love. These ones you can switch between temperature, heated seats, and I just think they're great.
They're fine, and I won't say too much because the Peugeot is not as easy as this, but they did a job.
I like it. Quick word on the infotainment. I have found it super easy to use. It's very non-glitchy. It's weird that that's a compliment now, but it works. It does what it says on the tin. The CarPlay is really good. It tends to re-link itself very easily when you get into the car, so there's none of that kind of like repairing and stuff, which can sometimes be a bit of a pain.
You do have some of your aircon controls in there, but it's a really lovely high def and like
it is.
Nice.
The graphics are lovely. This is really nice.
High quality piece.
It's got an inbuilt sat nav. That's actually an optional extra, but sure, most people realistically are going to be using CarPlay now anyway. But yeah, I love it. I think it's brilliant. This is making me want to take out a 50 grand loan.
Will that even cover the car? Are you hiding something from me?
I'm hiding something. Okay, look, it's time. It's time to discuss. It's time to discuss the elephant in the room, which is the new Skoda Kodiaq pricing, starting with the 1.5 litre mild hybrid petrol 7-seat version, is coming in at €54,000.
Okay.
And I know what you're thinking, because I'm thinking the same thing. When the Kodiaq first came out, you could get one for under 40 grand.
You are an old lady shaking her head.
I'm an old lady. But look, you can't even get a Golf for under 40 grand now.
It's where we're at. It's
where I paid €6 for eggs and milk this morning, you know.
It's a hard life.
Anyway, and they've done away with the old trim level system, so there's no more active ambition. What we're now looking at is selection. Selection Plus and Selection Box.
Oh.
Only joking, there's no Selection Box. There's no Selection Box.
That is a trick missed.
What I will say is that hidden within that €54,000, it comes really impressively equipped. You've got 3-zone climate control, there's adaptive cruise control, the reversing camera is standard, the wireless phone charging, all of that stuff. So it is like, it's
well kitted out from the
pretty
base.
fancy package now.
What about what we're sitting in?
What we're sitting in is not the entry level model. So this is the Selection Plus, but it's also the top of the range engine. So this is the 2-litre 190 brake horsepower 4-wheel drive version.
Tick the boxes.
That starts at 64 if you wanted in Selection Plus, like this one, 67, and then they've also hit the option list, bringing our grand total for this particular model to €73,000.
Wow. Okay.
Now look, it's a press car. They need to showcase everything that's on offer. This is not necessarily what the person on the street is going to buy, but this is the stuff that's available, and that's where we're at.
We're starting at a high point, but that's the world we live in now.
Shall we have a look at the Peugeot?
Yes, please. So welcome to the 5008's front seat. It's quite nice, isn't it?
I do love a Peugeot cabin. I love the wraparound effect. I've always liked that. There's a cockpit feel to this.
It is knocking around a while now, so it doesn't quite have the as up-to-date interior as the Kodiaq, but it's still a very pleasant place to be, and a very stylish one too.
It is.
It's got flourishes of style everywhere. It's as if it's French. Anyway, moving on. Small steering wheel. I have absolutely no issue with this at all. I think you get used to them very quick, and I actually quite like them in the end. I don't think people would have any issue in any time that you spend with it. It's totally fine.
What's the idea behind this small steering wheel?
I don't know, but it's different.
Is it sporty?
I suppose it feels a bit nimbler, maybe.
Yeah.
But I know people have reported issues of seeing the dashboard with it.
Yeah.
I've actually not found any issue with this because you can move your seat, you can adjust fine, and good visibility on a lovely screen with lots of animations and all your information, all your dials.
That iCockpit is a really nice system.
It's a really good system. 10-inch screen on this model. There is an 8-inch on the more entry-level or lower models. This is the larger 10-inch. Again, showing its age a bit and not quite up to date as the Kodiaq, but it works fine.
This is, as I said, incoming, outgoing. That's
exactly.
fair.
It works fine. It's got Apple CarPlay. It's got Android Auto, both wired. It has sat-nav on this one as well, but again, same idea. You won't use it. You'll just use your phone.
Yeah.
Absolutely no issues there. The aircon is built in, which is a bit annoying, but you do have these sort of piano key buttons here with shortcuts that bring you directly to the menu you need.
Okay.
Which makes life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem. Some storage down here for your phone, no wireless charging.
Okay.
Stuff for your keys, nice little gearbox selector, cup holders, and a nice big storage bin, which is very needed because if you look in front of you, the glove box is basically pointless.
Yes, that's not great. That's one of those built for European roads, didn't bother moving the stuff over. So
basically, it's non-existent. You might get some baby wipes in there, which we all know is necessary.
Essential.
Yeah. This is the top of the line GT model, as you will see from the badge on the steering wheel. You also get things like the Alcantara on the dash.
I prefer this to Kodiaq leather.
Yeah, it is nicer. Larger alloys, a couple of different stylish flourishes, some extra safety features like blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, active cruise control. That's all on the GT model. But the one thing that you do need is the reversing camera, because it is quite a long car. Out the back is a bit tricky to see, and that camera comes as standard across the range.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, so you have active, a lower, and GT. The active starts at about 48 grand, and it goes all the way to 55 grand for the car we are in today, the GT model.
Okay.
Yes, well spec'd. I don't think you'd feel shortchanged by the entry level. Mid-spec's probably where you need to be, because that's where you get all the stuff. But the top line GT is nice. It's nice to look at. The exterior is quite nice. And it's still about 20 grand cheaper than your press car.
Okay, let's go for a drive.
Yeah. So driving the 5008, and I will lead with this is a very pleasant experience.
Sure is.
Yeah. And as it sits today, there is only two engines in the lineup, a 1.2 petrol or a 1.5 diesel, and both are automatic setups. Today we are sitting in the 1.5 diesel with about 130 brake horsepower and all mated to an 8-speed automatic gearbox. Now, despite being diesel and automatic, it actually cruises along very quietly. You don't really notice that gearbox at all and you barely can hear the engine. It's very quiet, very comfortable, deals with bumps in the roads really well. It's a very comfortable experience, isn't it?
It definitely is, and really quiet for a diesel. You could have told me this was petrol or diesel.
You'd be happy.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, and from that as well, it obviously leads onto a very quiet experience on the motorway. Cruises along at 120 kilometers an hour. Lovely sound insulation, no road noise, only on the worst surfaces do you hear stuff. It's just a really comfortable experience. I mean, you could do hundreds, thousands of kilometers in this. I think you'd be very comfortable. Not an issue at all. Speaking of lots of kilometers, you should get a decent amount from that fuel tank as well, because in my few days with the car, I've seen somewhere in the region of 5 to 6 litres per 100 kilometres. That's pretty good. I'd be very happy with that. And if you're still working with old money, that's 45 to 55 mpgs. On the more narrower, twisty back roads that we're on today, it's not quite as happy. It's not particularly upset. And if you were expecting a sporty drive from this big old 5008, you will be surprised.
You were in the wrong market.
Yeah, you were in the very wrong market. It deals with it fine, it grips, it does its job, it moves along smoothly. Just don't put in any severe inputs because body roll is there. And really, do you want to drive like that if you have a few kids in the back? You will have vomit down your back.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. Finally, around town, it's not bad. It's really not bad. I was expecting it to be worse. Width is not an issue. You can see the corners, you have a nice high view. It's really comfortable, easy setup. The only issue I found was maybe with the length, but you have parking sensors, they will help you out. You will use them, as the view out the back is not the handiest thing in the world. You can't necessarily see the corners. And on back roads, the lane assist is very intrusive, but you can turn it off with a button down here. It's fighting me here as we're driving. It's frustrating the life out of me.
It's no line, it cannot compete.
Yeah, it doesn't know what it's doing, but there is a button to turn it off. As far as I can tell, you have to do it every time, but maybe there's a more override setting in there somewhere. I just haven't found it yet. And finally, we leave it on this. It has drive modes, which it has a lot of them. Sport, eco, sand, mud, snow. That button will get cobwebs over the ownership of this car. You'll either stick it in normal or eco if you're a bit cheap, and you'll be happy.
Don't know stuff of them,
yeah, but otherwise, really good drive. Impressive for what it is.
Okay, great. Let's check out the Kodiaq.
Yay, Kodiaq.
So the current engine lineup in the Kodiaq, that 1.5 litre plug-in petrol that I mentioned earlier, is not here yet, but coming soon. So it starts with a 1.5 litre mild hybrid petrol, DSG as well. Manual is no more in the Kodiaq, so gone.
Okay,
so
that's the way the world is.
Look, DSG is your only man for a bus like this. It's just one less thing to worry about, isn't it?
Yeah, no more thinking.
So the less thinking, the better. So the others then are the two diesels. You've got a 2 litre 150 HP front wheel drive DSG. That's the one that I'd be going for. This one, as I mentioned earlier, is the 190 horsepower 4-wheel drive. And look, 4-wheel drive is great and all, but look, I'm the biggest suburb head ever. I don't need it. I don't think I would enjoy the reduced fuel economy, the increased tax bill, and
it's just unnecessary.
It's just unnecessary.
It's not for most people.
For me, it'd be the first thing on the chopping board off that 73k price tag.
But with this lovely interior, you're not going off-road in any way. This is luxury.
Exactly. Not with those 20-inch wheels.
Definitely not.
So in terms of fuel economy, as I said, I think that the 2 litre 150 would be the one to go for. I ran the last version Kodiaq as a long-termer for 6 months, and I can attest to that. The fuel economy is truly impressive, like between 5 and 6 litres per 100 kilometres.
Similar to what the 5008 is.
Exactly, and look, that's impressive for a big family bus. This one, I have been averaging, actually, I haven't demonstrated the voice control feature. Watch this.
Oh, this is always good.
Hi, Laura. Laura. Hey, Laura. Hi, Laura.
Laura doesn't like you. Laura doesn't like you.
Hi, Laura. Can you tell me my average fuel consumption?
Okay.
Laura's got an odd voice for a Laura.
That doesn't sound like a Laura. Laura, can you tell me my average fuel consumption, please?
Your average consumption since the last reset has been 20.5 litres per 100 kilometres.
Really? That seems excessive.
No, I was expecting it to be high with the four-wheel drive. I believe Laura may be glitching.
I know what that was.
What?
Because it's 1,000,000 degrees out today, we might have left this running and just got the aircon, so 20 seems way too much.
Okay, that's a bit unfair.
So where's
I
the
thought that would
problem?
be a really easy way to do it, but clearly not.
Clearly not, no.
So that is fuel economy, and as I said, 2 litre 150 all day long.
Yeah.
As for what it's like to drive, it's just a big, safe, comfortable, confidence-inspiring car to drive, which is exactly what you want in a family cruiser like this. Now, it's not going to set your world on fire in terms of performance, nor will you want it to. But at the same time, it's not going to leave you banging your head off the steering wheel, impatiently waiting to pull off from the lights.
From the passenger
either.
seat, it feels a bit more planted than the 5008. It's not as sort of
No,
jumpy side to
you know
side,
what,
but
it's
good.
fairly spot on. It's got
Yeah.
that really nicely balanced VW group setup. The suspension is fairly spot on, the steering is well weighted, that lovely smooth DSG box. There is still a teeny tiny little bit of turbo lag that
Okay,
you can
fair
still
enough.
feel, but altogether you'll forgive it. Plus the driver assisting features, which have done the amazing feat of finding the balance between useful and not really annoying.
That's what you want.
That's what
Yeah.
you want. So it's a 10 out of 10 behind the wheel for me.
Yeah, it's a firmer setup than the 5008, but if you're more of a driver, this might be the choice.
I think so.
Marginal, very marginal.
I like big buses, and I cannot lie.
And these are two of the biggest buses on sale today. You must be very happy.
I am. After all of this though, I must say the Skoda Kodiaq remains my car of choice in this market. Now I fully appreciate the 3-in-a-row setup in the 5008. I think that's a great feature. I think more car manufacturers need to do that and cater for larger families. But this new Kodiaq has improved in just about every way, bar that third Isofix seat in the centre. But for my 2-child family, this would do me just fine.
I understand where you're coming from, but I still think this is a better looking option.
You're wrong.
And that 3-seat setup alone is enough to get people into it. So it's going off sale pretty soon. Grab yourself a bargain while you still can.
Or start saving. Very hard for this one. We hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please do give us a like, share, subscribe, all of that stuff. If you're in the market for either of these two cars, new or old, you'll find thousands of new and used models to choose from on CarsIreland.ie.
It's too hot.